Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome into the softball field here at Milford High School, as Milford TV is happy to present coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics. I am Tim Coet on the call, happy to be bringing you more coverage of this Lady Hawks softball team as they get set to take on their first Davenport Division competition of the season as the visiting Sharon Lady Eagles come to town. And for Milford, this is their second game on their 2016 schedule, and you do not get much better than how the team performed in game number 1. We were here to cover it earlier this week as Milford took on Attleboro. It was a close game through the early innings, a well-pitched softball game on both sides, but ultimately Milford entering into the bottom of the 5th inning with just a 2-0 lead, and that is when their bats exploded. A total of 10 runs on 12 hits scored over the course of that bottom of the 5th inning, and by the time the dust settled, mercy rules came into apply. And so for Milford's first game on the season, it was a 5-inning, 12-0 victory over the Lady Bombardiers, and all kinds of offensive heroes on that first game of the season, in particular making an immediate impact on this team in just her first game in a Milford uniform was the sophomore transfer student Jess Tomaso, coming through with RBI hits in all of her plate appearances. Also with a stellar day at the bottom of the lineup, Sydney Pounds out of the 9 spot, getting on all 3 times she came to the plate. And, of course, on the pitching circle, Allie Atherton, a fantastic performance in game number 1 on the year, pitching all 5 innings. She allowed just 1 hit to the Attleboro bats. No runs allowed, just 1 walk and 9 strikeouts. So any way you slice it, it was a dominant beginning to the season for the Lady Hawks, and they will look to keep that going here this afternoon as they take on Sharon. This was a team that Milford dominated fairly easily last season, winning both of their matchups in overwhelming fashion. A 16-3 mercy rule win at Milford and then a 12-0 victory at Sharon. So this has been a one-sided matchup over the last couple of years. Milford hopes that trend continues this afternoon. Again, it is Milford taking on Sharon. We will have the starting lineups and the game's first pitch next here on Milford TV. Right back to the softball field as we are moments away from the beginning of this Davenport showdown between Milford and Sharon. The Lady Hawks have taken the field. And before we get this game started, let's take a look at the starting lineups for these two squads. We begin with the visiting lineup. That is the Sharon Lady Eagles. Leading it off is their third baseman, Sam Margolis, with Allie Small, the shortstop, batting second. Jenna Kranzler, the first baseman, bats third, with the catcher, Rachel Usen, batting cleanup. Batting fifth and starting pitcher is Clara Cook, with the center fielder Rebecca Clayman batting sixth. The designated player Hillary Beeson bats seventh, with Jamie Kessler, the right fielder, batting eighth, and batting ninth and playing left field is Courtney Solis. Flexed out of the lineup and only playing defensively for Sharon is Lauren Yaffe. She will be at second base. And for the Milford Lady Scarlet Hawks, a nearly identical lineup to what they put out on the field for game number 1. Leading it off once again is the left fielder Kate Irwin, with Emily Pierre-Gustavo, the second baseman, batting second. Maggie Farrell plays right field and bats third, with Jess Tomaso, the first baseman, in the cleanup spot. Batting fifth and playing shortstop is Jill Powers, with Emily Hartman, the freshman, making her varsity debut. She will be in the designated player spot and batting sixth. Caitlin DeCapua is at third base today. She bats seventh, with Megan Jakes, the catcher, batting eighth, and in the ninth spot and playing center field is Sydney Pounds. Your pitching matchup in this one, Clara Cook will take the pitcher circle on the Sharon side, and out there right now for Milford, making her first start of 2016, is the sophomore Kelly Reichert. A very good start from Allie Atherton in game number 1, so now it will be Kelly Reichert who gets a shot in the circle, and she is set to go. Her first pitch on the way, and it is in for a called strike as this game is underway in Milford. Kelly Reichert pitching to the leadoff batter for Sharon, Sam Margolis, in on the right side. And the righty pitcher, Reichert, her next offering is delivered out to shallow left center field, but cutting in is Sydney Pounds to make the catch. And 2 pitches deep into the ball game, there is 1 out. Good contact from Margolis on that swing, but it hung up just long enough for the speedy Sydney Pounds to come in to make the catch. Taking charge there in the outfield, stepping in front of Kate Irwin. So with 1 out and the bases empty, Allie Small, the shortstop, now at the plate. Up there with a no ball, 1 strike count. Reichert's next offering. This one is hit on the ground. It gets past the glove of the first baseman. And the throw in, a close one from right field. Maggie Farrell making that a relatively close play, but just beating it out at first was Small for the one-out single. Jess Tomaso trying to play that one off to the side, just did not get the glove low enough. It snuck underneath, and it goes as a one-out base hit. So Small at first base, Jenna Kranzler, one of the two captains on this Sharon squad, now in the right side batter's box. She takes a look at strike one. Reichert winds and fires. This pitch popped up in foul territory, now drifting back towards fair ground. Megan Jakes unable to adjust in time to make the play. That ball was not in the air long enough. Jakes initially lunging behind her. It ended up landing just beyond the left side batter's box, but it lands in foul territory, so an 0-2 count on Kranzler. Here's the pitch, and that's in for a called strike three. A nice pitch on the outside edge. It completely froze Jenna Kranzler. It's the first strikeout of the game for Kelly Reichert. 2 down now in the first. And the second Sharon captain in the cleanup spot, Rachel Hewson, stands in. She takes the first pitch just a bit high for ball one. Allie Small remains at first base with 2 outs. Reichert looking to end the inning here, delivers a called strike, and that evens the count at 1-1. Much better conditions for outdoor sports here today. It was a dreary and very windy day on Monday, but the sun out. Much calmer breezes today. So very good conditions as this ball in on the hands is hit out towards third base. Quick hands out there by Caitlin DeCapua. She slings it across for the out. That ends the inning, so Reichert able to strand that one-out base runner. We've played half an inning now from Milford. Scoreless, as Milford will take their first swings of the game when we come back next here on Milford TV. Bottom of the first now from Milford. Sharon unable to score in their half of the inning, so now Milford to take their swings against the right-handed starting pitcher, Clara Cook, in the circle for the Lady Eagles. She faces Kate Irwin atop this Milford lineup. The first pitch in low, it skips to the backstop. 1 ball and no strikes on Irwin. Kate now in her sophomore year. In 21 games for this softball team last year, she batted .407. Now sends this one out just to the left of the pitcher circle. The throw into first base, it pulls the first baseman, Jenna Kranzler, off the bag, and Kate Irwin is safe. And we just keep saying it every broadcast, if Kate Irwin puts the ball on the ground in play, she is going to be safe just about every time at first base. You saw there the ball barely making it to the pitcher's circle, but even as quickly as Sam Margolis, the third baseman, was able to get to that ball, she just could not get the throw to first base in time. All kinds of speed, and now immediately the catcher, Rachel Hewson, will check on Irwin at first base after that pitch missed the strike zone to Emily Pierre-Gustavo. Emily takes a pitch high, ahead in the count, now 2 balls and no strikes. A very good game to start the season for Pierre-Gustavo on Monday. She had 3 hits, a couple of runs batted in. Sends this pitch high in the air, but twisting foul and out of play. 2-1 now the count. Maggie Farrell, the right fielder, waits on deck. Cook sets, here's the pitch, again lifted foul. A little further out of play this time, sends a few fans scattering for cover. The count even now at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Pierre-Gustavo hit .440 for the season back in 2015. Looks at the next pitch high. Again, they'll send a snap throw over to first base. This time Irwin able to get back standing. A full count now on Pierre-Gustavo. The runner at first takes off as this pitch is lined out to center field. It drops in for a hit. Irwin hits second base, moves right onto third. Here's the throw, not in time. And on that throw, Emily Pierre-Gustavo takes second base. Irwin was off on the pitch. She got a good read knowing that ball was going to drop in front of the center fielder, Clayman, and just kept on going. The throw went into third base, was not in time, and as a result, Pierre-Gustavo able to take an extra base, so now 2 in scoring position to open up this first inning, and already a big RBI opportunity for the number 3 hitter, Maggie Farrell. Farrell fouls the first pitch towards the backstop for strike 1. Farrell stands back in on the left side. Lefty batter against righty pitcher. Here is the pitch, and that's just on the outside part of the plate for a called strike 2. Farrell up now, Jess Tomaso on deck. Here's the next pitch. An off-balance swing from Maggie Farrell. She protects the plate, sends the pitch foul and out of play. Stays an 0-2 count. The next offering, this is hit hard on the ground underneath the glove of the second baseman. Into score comes Irwin. They'll wave Pierre-Gustavo to the plate. She will score as well. It goes as a 2-run single for Maggie Farrell. Good 2-strike hitting. Able to send it hard on the ground. It got under the glove of Lauren Yaffe, and Milford immediately takes a 2-0 lead. Three straight singles. Good for 2 runs. Still no outs in the inning. Now Tomaso, first pitch swinging, lines a pitch out to center field. It gets over the glove of Clayman. Digging for third base, and now coming home is Farrell as the ball finally comes back in on the infield as Farrell scores. Tomaso stops at third. Rebecca Clayman had that one lined up. It was hard to tell if it skipped off of her glove or if it sailed over the glove completely. But another run comes in to score as Tomaso ends up at third base. So a bit of a gift triple there for the sophomore Tomaso. And she gets another RBI. Already filling up the stats in just these first 2 games of the season is Jess Tomaso, coming in as advertised, transferring in from Hopedale. Jill Powers at the plate now with a count of 1 ball and 1 strike. The next offering from Cook, it had Powers spinning out of the way, but called a strike, and it goes to 1-2. Jill Powers, the only member of this Milford lineup to not get a hit in the season debut. After that foul ball, it stays a 1-2 count. Powers was able to get on base in that big 5th inning rally back on Monday, courtesy of a fielder's choice. With the 1-2 count, she lofts this pitch foul, but it will make its way out of play. It ricochets off the roof of the first base dugout occupied by the Sharon reserves. Still a 1-2 count on the shortstop Powers. Here's the pitch, taking something off. That one was Cook, and this one is roped down the left field line, but just foul. An off-speed pitch that time from Clara Cook. It hung up high in the strike zone. Powers was all over it, but just couldn't keep it between the lines. Still nobody out in the inning. Tomaso at third base. This pitch again is fouled away. That one ran inside on Powers, but she got the bat on it, fouled it off. Putting on a very tough at bat here against Clara Cook. Here's the pitch, down low, taken for ball 2. Emily Hartman waiting to make her first varsity plate appearance. Coming up next, here's the pitch to Powers. A little bit inside. Powers continues to work hard in this at-bat. She's worked the count full. The payoff pitch, and that misses for ball 4. A lengthy at-bat for Jill Powers, and it pays off as she works the base on balls. So now 4 hits and a walk is how this inning has begun for Milford. 3 runs on the scoreboard. Clara Cook trying to grab her bearings out there. And Emily Hartman takes the first pitch for ball 1. A lot of hype surrounding Emily Hartman amongst her teammates heading into this season. Jill Powers saying, watch out for the bat of Emily Hartman this season. Adding even more talent to what was a very talented roster to begin with the players returning from last year's team. Hartman swings at this pitch, sends it on the ground to shortstop. The tag at second base out there. The throw to first was not in time for the double play. In the back door from third base comes Jess Tomaso with the 4th Milford run. So cut down on the play was Jill Powers at second base. Hartman safe on the fielder's choice. So that finally brings the first out of the inning as now Caitlin DeCapua swings away at the first pitch. Sends it over the fans gathered just beyond the right field area. No balls and 1 strike on DeCapua, who plays third base today. She served as the designated player on Monday. Maddie Bonvino, who did make an appearance in the starting lineup in that game against Attleboro, on the bench to start this one. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Good live fastball that time from Clara Cook. It's in for strike 2. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out in the inning. The lone runner is Hartman at first. As this pitch is sent high in the air out to right field, tracking it back is Jamie Kessler, but that's going to roll all the way to the fence. They will wave Hartman to the plate all the way around from first base. They'll wave DeCapua in as well. She will come all the way around to score on what turns out to be an inside the park 2-run homer. Jamie Kessler with all kinds of trouble after that ball got up over her head, and by the time the ball got back on the infield, DeCapua was able to circle the bases. So a big lead already in this one as Cook sends a floating pitch in that grabs the top of the strike zone to Meg Jakes. Scoreboard right now reading 6-0. I have 5 runs scoring so far, so a bit of a discrepancy there as this pitch is sent high in the air out towards second base, but that one's going to drop onto the dirt. Kessler, the right fielder, came charging in, but that ball ended up right at the seam where the infield dirt met the outfield grass, and Yaffe could not find it. A bright sun out there glaring in from right as the Hawks will provide a courtesy runner for Meg Jakes. Shannon Cormier, the sophomore, out there to run for Jakes. Still just 1 out in the inning. The first pitch in for a strike to Sydney Pounds, the number 9 hitter. So that scoring is correct. It is 6-0. After the 2-run inside the park home run, the offense has been coming fast and furious, finally getting my scorebook caught up with the action. DeCapua with 2 RBIs on that inside the park home run. As Milford now has batted around in the inning with Sydney Pounds at the plate, and again, there is still just 1 out. This pitch is hit high in the air and foul ground out down the right field line, and unable to get there was Kranzler, the first baseman. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Pounds. We mentioned it earlier, Sydney Pounds, a very good day at the plate out of this number 9 spot on Monday. 3 hits, a couple of runs scored and an RBI, also 2 stolen bases, as that wild pitch sails to the backstop and allows Shannon Cormier to take second base. Milford keeping the pressure on. The 3-2 pitch to Pounds, that's up and in for ball 4. It's the second walk of the inning. It puts 2 on now. As we go back to the leadoff spot, Kate Irwin about to take her second at bat of the inning. She reached on an infield single and scored a run already in this frame. Here's the pitch. Taking that one for a called strike was Irwin. Cormier is the lead runner at second base, running for Meg Jakes, with Sydney Pounds at first. As the pitch misses outside, evening the count at 1-1. Up high, 2-1 the count. Kate Irwin had 8 stolen bases to her credit in 2015. This Milford offense can hurt you in a number of different ways, a lot of different tools. It's a well-constructed lineup, as Irwin sends that pitch foul and ended up bouncing through the doorway of the Milford dugout along the third base line. It runs the count full. The runners go as the pitch misses for ball 4. Back-to-back walks now for Clara Cook, and that will load the bases for Emily Pierre Gustavo. We are still in the bottom of the first inning, just 1 out. It took this Milford offense until the 5th inning in the game on Monday to explode. They wasted no time here today, already with 6 runs on the board, looking for more here with the bases full. Emily Pierre Gustavo takes a look at strike 1. And she gets into this pitch, sends it out to center field. It's down for a hit. Cormier comes in to score. A little indecision for Pounds as she rounded third base, but she's able to get in there safely. It goes as a 2-run single for Emily Pierre Gustavo that ups the Milford lead to 8-0. Cormier and Pounds scoring. Irwin moved up to second base on that 2-run single. So Pierre Gustavo now 2 for 2 in this inning with a pair of RBIs and a run scored. Maggie Farrell at the plate. She produced a 2-run single in her last at bat. A count of 1 ball and no strikes. Here's the pitch. Hard ground ball through the right side of the infield. Around from third base to score without a throw is Kate Irwin. Stopping at third base is Pierre Gustavo. A 3rd run batted in the inning for Maggie Farrell. And this offense just absolutely relentless. Now a 9-0 lead. Runners at the corners as Jess Tomaso looks at strike one. Tomaso with a bit of a gift hit that turned into an RBI triple in her first at bat. Takes a big cut there, but comes up empty, and the count goes to 0-2. Jill Powers on deck. Here's the 0-2 pitch. It's golfed out towards shortstop, a slow roller. They flip it to second to get the out there on Maggie Farrell. Safe at first is Tomaso. So a fielder's choice brings the second out of the inning as Farrell is erased. Pierre Gustavo was able to cross the plate with the 10th Milford run. So now the lone runner on the bases is Tomaso with Jill Powers at the dish. She takes a look at an inside pitch for ball one. Powers worked a walk earlier in this lengthy bottom of the first inning. Takes a cut there, but comes up empty. Evening the count at 1. Milford keeping the chatter up in the dugout. They've watched their offense put on a show here in the first. Double-digit runs. As Powers takes a look at a high pitch for ball two. I'll look in for the sign for Clara Cook. Now delivers this pitch. It's a high fly ball out to center field. Settling underneath is Rebecca Clayman for the out that finally brings an end to this bottom of the first inning. 13 batters come to the plate in the bottom of the first. 10 of them come around to score. And after one inning of play, it is Milford 10 and Sharon 0 here on coverage of Scarlet Hawks Athletics on Milford TV. Back for the top half of the second inning. It looks like we've got a couple of defensive changes already in the ball game for Milford. We'll get to those in just a moment. Still in the game is Kelly Reichert as she gets a ground ball from her counterpart, Clara Cook. She's able to gather it in at her feet, fires to first, one pitch and one out. Shannon Cormier appears to be in the game now out in center field. And it looks like Maddie Bonvino has taken over in left field. So Sydney Pounds and Kate Irwin appear to be out of the ball game. The infield alignment appears to be unchanged. So Coach DeVito already getting the bench activated after that 10-run output in the bottom of the first inning. One out and the base is empty now as this pitch is hit hard, but a nice hop for Caitlin DeCapo at third base. No problem firing to first, retiring Rebecca Clayman. A pair of ground ball outs so far. And that leaves it up to Hillary Beeson in as the designated player. Reichert, who had a long wait as she saw her offense put up 10 runs on 7 hits in the bottom of the first inning, also 3 walks in the frame. Reichert looks into Jakes for the sign, now fires in. That one bounced in front of the plate. A ball and a strike. Kelly Reichert appeared in the pitcher's circle in 12 games last season. She made 8 starts, finished the year with a .64 ERA. She gets another ground ball here, this time to shortstop. Jill Powers fires to Tomaso at first base, and a very quick 1-2-3 top of the second inning for the Sharon offense. Milford will go right back to work at the plate when we come back next here on Milford TV. The freshman Emily Hartman to lead things off in the bottom of the second inning. She swings at the first pitch and pops it up high in the air out to shallow right field. Underneath is Jamie Kessler. And certainly a better start to this inning for Clara Cook and the Eagles, as Emily Hartman is retired on just 1 pitch on the fly out to right. And now a high one uncorked by Clara Cook. It sailed on a line to the backstop. Making sure our technical director, Daniel Harlow, stays awake. Here's the 1-0 pitch. It's a line drive over the glove of the shortstop into the gap out in left center, but getting to it quickly was Courtney Salas, and that will hold Caitlin DeCapua to a ringing single. DeCapua now 2 for 2 after her inside the park 2-run home run back in the first inning. She's making solid contact today off of Clara Cook. A runner at first. Now for Megan Jakes, the senior captain. Jakes reached on an error at second base in her plate appearance in the first inning. This pitch hit on the ground. It sneaks under the glove of the pitcher and rolls out into center field. So there's the first hit of the game for Jakes. So 1 down in the inning, and we'll see a pinch hitter here in the number 9 spot. Sydney Pounds had come out of the game defensively in the top half of this inning, and now we'll see Antonia Bonina make her first at bat in a Milford uniform. Up there with a count of no balls and 1 strike, the sophomore in her first season on the varsity squad. Four new faces on this varsity squad here in 2016. As this pitch again sails high, getting to it quickly was the catcher, Yusin, and that kept DeCapua at first. We've already seen Emily Hartman in this game. Jess Tomaso making her second start in her first varsity season. Antonia Bonina now getting into a game. Sabrina Harstick, the other new face on this roster this season. The 2-2 pitch into Bonina. She's able to hold up. It's a little bit high, a close pitch. It runs the count full. 1 on, 1 out. The payoff pitch. It again sails to the backstop, this time for ball 4. Two on now with 1 out, and here's Shannon Cormier making her first plate appearance of the game. Came in as a courtesy runner in the first inning. Moved into the field defensively in the top half of this inning and left, and now will bat in the place of Kate Irwin. She lofts a pitch out to left field. It gets down for a hit, and coming in to score is Caitlin DeCapua with the 11th Milford run. Runners at every base. Now as this pitch is hit hard on the ground, that gets through shortstop. Into score comes Jakes. Right behind her is Antonia Bonina. Runs 12 and 13 crossing the plate on an RBI double for Emily Pierre Gustavo, who now has 3 hits and 4 runs batted in, and we are just in the second inning. So right now, this game shaping up to be another short one in terms of innings. As things continue the way they are trending through these first 2 innings, Milford could be looking at their second Mercy Rule victory in as many games on the season. Maggie Farrell sends a hard ground ball to second base, fielded. And the throw to first base is good for out number 2, but into score comes Shannon Cormier, and it is now a 14-0 score. Now swinging at the first pitch is Tomaso, sends it hard to third base, but scooped up there. The throw to first base brings about the out that ends the inning, but more runs put up by this Milford offense, and now It is a 14-0 Milford lead as we head into inning number 3. Coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics here on Milford TV. More defensive changes for the Lady Hawks. Again, we will get to them as the inning progresses. Kelly Reichert ready with her first pitch of the frame. And it's a little high for ball 1 to Jamie Kessler. And now a bouncer. 2 balls and no strikes. Kelly Reichert has had a couple of long waits in between innings. 14 runs posted by the Lady Hawks offense through 2 innings of play. It's now a 3-ball, no strike count on Kessler. Here's the 3-0 pitch, and that's in for a called strike. Kessler was ready to head to first base. She tossed the bat away, but got the bad news from the ump. Here's the 3-1, and that's high for ball 4. This time, Kessler not taking any chances, but is awarded first base a leadoff walk. Reichert with a very quick 1-2-3 second inning, 3 quick ground ball outs. And the first pitch is waved at and missed. Kelly Reichert operating with a new battery mate here in the 3rd inning as Megan Jakes is out of the game defensively. Now Emily Hartman behind the plate. This pitch a liner to third base, snagged in the air by DeCapua. She fires across to first base, and that completes the 5-3 double play. So after getting the leadoff runner on, that runner quickly erased as Courtney Salas ends up lining into the double play. Base is empty now and 2 outs. The first pitch in for a called strike. The pitch from Reichert down in the dirt. Back up to the top spot in the Sharon lineup. Sam Margolis getting her second at bat. She flew out to center field, opening up the game. This pitch is sent in the air out to right field. Ranging in is Maggie Farrell to make the catch for the out that ends the inning. So Kelly Reichert faces the minimum after the double play in the inning. So we've played 3.5 innings now from Milford. It is a 14-0 lead for the Lady Hawks here on Milford TV. Batters 5, 6, and 7 due up in the Milford lineup here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. And it is Sabrina Harstick who will bat in the place of Jill Powers. Powers was 0 for 1 with a walk and a flyout. Still in search of her first hit of the season, and now a spectator for the remainder of this one is Harstick. Takes her spot in the lineup, down no balls and 2 strikes. Now has to get the back foot out of the way of that offering that went too far inside. And now the pitch up high, and the count evens at 2-2. Swing and a miss, and Harstick down on strikes. That's the first strikeout of the game for Clara Cook. And now Emily Hartman up for the 3rd time. She is 0 for 2. Reached on a fielder's choice and flew out to right field. In her 2 previous at-bats, a big cut, but a little late on that pitch from Clara Cook. A 1-ball, 1-strike count. Hard ground ball to first base. Waiting for it there was Jenna Kranzler. She's able to take it to the bag herself. 2 up and 2 down in the fourth. And now here is Caitlin DeCapua, who has hit the ball very hard in her 2 plate appearances so far, an inside the park home run and a single. Quickly down 0-1. Clara Cook would certainly like to see a 1-2-3 inning, but she will not get it here as DeCapua flares that pitch out to shallow center field, and it touches down for the 3rd base hit so far today for Caitlin DeCapua. Meg Jakes came out of the game defensively in the top half of this inning, but she will continue to bat in this number 8 spot in the lineup. She lifts a pitch foul behind the plate. Houston wasn't able to get there. So it goes as a first pitch strike. There's at least one defensive change we can tell you about for Sharon. Hillary Beeson, who started the game as a designated player, is now out there defensively at second base. Lauren Yaffe had been in there at second, just in the game for defensive purposes, but now she is out of there. Here's the 1-1 pitch. It's low and inside. Two balls and a strike. And the next pitch high. Cook's next pitch, that one in for a strike. I do believe Milford has now used all of their reserves with the exception of Allie Atherton, who I do not expect that we will see in this game today. In all likelihood, Allie will make the start in the team's next game on Friday. Here's the 3-2 pitch, meanwhile, into Jakes, and that is a foul tip into the mitt of Rachel Houston, and that will be the final out of the inning. So for the first time today, Sharon able to hold Milford off the scoreboard. So we have now played 3 full innings here at the softball field in Milford. It is the Lady Hawks 14 and the Lady Eagles 0 here on coverage of Scarlet Hawks Athletics on Milford TV. As we get started with the top of the 4th inning, we can tell you that the positions on the field have changed just about everywhere, so we'll run down the fresh defensive alignment for the Lady Hawks for you right after this next pitch. We can tell you that Kelly Reichert is still in the game, about to fire her first pitch in. It is a little bit high for ball 1. On the infield right now, it is Emily Hartman behind the plate. Caitlin DeCapua, the only player still at her original position at third base. Sabrina Harstick now takes over at shortstop with Maddie Bonvino at second, and Megan Jakes is now shifted over to first base. Left to right in the outfield, it's Antonia Bonina, Shannon Cormier, and Jess Tomaso now out in right field. So everyone trying out a new position with the exception of DeCapua, who holds down the fort at third base. It's a 2-ball, 1-strike count on the leadoff batter for Sharon here in the 4th. And now that pitch fouled away. Allie Small, the number 2 hitter, up there now with an even count of 2 balls and 2 strikes. Small, one of just 2 base runners for Sharon so far in this game. She singled with 1 out in the first inning, but was stranded on. The only other base runner came last inning on a leadoff walk by Jamie Kessler. She was quickly erased on a double play. Right here, Allie Small sends one on a hop right back to Reichert, who fires to Megan Jakes at first base. The leadoff batter retired. Now Jenna Kranzler, who struck out looking in the first inning, she steps in for her second at bat of the afternoon. Here's the pitch. It's popped up on the infield. Taking charge of it is Megan Jakes from first base. She makes the catch. Very good communication out there from Jakes. When I talked to her before the season, she talked about how much she likes the catcher's role because of the opportunity to really be the field general. Well, she was the field general there at first base, calling everyone off to make the catch. 2 up and 2 down, and now first pitch swinging. Rachel Hewson sends it on a hop back to Reichert. She fires to Megan Jakes for the out that ends the inning. Another 1-2-3 frame here in the top of the 4th inning, so we head right on to the bottom half of the inning. It stays 14-0 in favor of the Lady Hawks here on Milford TV. 14 runs on 12 hits so far in this game for Milford. They come to the plate now. In the bottom of the 4th inning, it's Antonia Bonina who will lead it off. Bonina batting out of the number 9 spot. She sends a pitch out to shallow left center field. It drops in for a hit. And moving right on to second base is Bonina with a double. Late to react was the left fielder Solis. And it results in a leadoff 2-bagger for Antonia Bonina, who has now reached base twice since coming into the game. She walked and scored a run back in the 2nd inning. Now a double to lead things off here. She heads to third base as the ball gets away from the catcher, and she's able to get in there safely as the throw bounces into third. So advancing on the passed ball. And now Bonina at third base. Shannon Cormier grounds it to second base, but it sneaks under the glove of Beeson. And into score comes Bonina. As Shannon Cormier reaches base for the 2nd time. This time on the error at second base. It's the 2nd Lady Eagles error of the day. Still no outs. And a runner at first base now. Maddie Bonvino now at the plate. Foul tip into the mid of the catcher, and the count goes to 1-1. Here's the pitch, and it's fouled hard to the backstop. 1 ball and 2 strikes the count now on the batter. Bonvino ready to see the next pitch. It sails in low, and that evens the count at 2-2. The next offering, and that's waved at and missed. So Bonvino batting in place of Emily Pierre Gustavo, who was 3 for 3. She ends up striking out. It's the 2nd K for Cook. Now here's Maggie Farrell. Still batting despite being replaced in the outfield by Jess Tomaso. She pops one up on the infield. It ends up being the 3rd baseman, Sam Margolis, who makes the catch. And there are 2 down now. Cormier remains at first base. And now here's Jess Tomaso, who started the day at first. She's now moved to the outfield. She delivers a pitch relatively deep out to right center field, but ranging over was Rebecca Clayman to make the catch. A good job tracking the ball in the outfield that time for Clayman. She's able to record the out that ends the inning. Milford tacks on 1 additional run to make it an even 15 on the game. We head to the top of the 5th inning, and it is 15-0 in favor of the Lady Scarlet Hawks here on coverage of Milford High School Athletics on Milford TV. We have reached the 5th inning now from the softball field at Milford High School. Milford TV bringing you coverage of this Davenport Division matchup between the Milford Lady Scarlet Hawks and the Sharon Lady Eagles. It has been a one-sided affair through the early innings of this one. Milford with 15 runs now on 13 hits. A 15-0 lead. Sharon with just one hit to show for their afternoon so far. They'll send batters 5, 6, and 7 to the plate in this top of the 5th inning, needing at least 4 runs if this game is going to continue past this top of the 5th inning. Clara Cook 0 for 1. She grounded out back to the pitcher's circle to lead off the 2nd inning. Here's the pitch. That's in for a called strike. Reichert getting ahead of her counterpart, Clara Cook. Here's the next offering, and that is in for a called strike 3. That is the 2nd strikeout of the outing for Kelly Reichert. They've both been called strikeouts. And so with 1 out now, Rebecca Clayman stands in. She is 0 for 1, grounded out to 3rd base in her only prior plate appearance. Nothing in 1 the count to the lefty batter. That pitch too high. And a wave and a miss. 1 ball and 2 strikes now on Rebecca Clayman. Milford 1-0 so far on the season. Sharon 1-1, in danger of dropping below 500 as that pitch is swung on and missed for strike 3. Back-to-back Ks in the inning for Kelly Reichert. 2 outs and the base is empty. So for Sharon, it's been an uneven start to the season, to say the least. They won their opening day game against Ursuline Academy by a final score of 19-7, so putting up all kinds of runs in that game. They followed that up with a 12-0 loss back on April 11th at home against Franklin. And now behind in this game to Milford, 15-0, as that pitch sails in a little bit too far inside to Hillary Beeson. 0 for 1 on the afternoon. The bases are empty with 2 outs. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Up top, 2-1 now the count. Reichert climbs back on top of the pitching rubber, looks into Emily Hartman for the sign. Here's the pitch, and it is low for ball 3. Should Beeson reach, Jamie Kessler would be the next batter. Still a lot of chatter coming out of the Sharon dugout, staying in good spirits. Here's the pitch, and that's in for a called strike, just grabbing the inside part of the plate. And so a lot of confusion here on the field, as it was a 3-ball, 1-strike count. The umpire initially ruling that strike 3. Now everyone getting on the same page. It is now a full count. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs in the inning. And here's the payoff pitch. It's a grounder. It gets past the pitcher's circle, backed up by Bonvino at second base. She fires to first for the out that ends the inning. And this will indeed end the game as well. A 4-3 ground out, a 1-2-3 inning. And mercy rules for the 2nd straight game for the Lady Hawks, as they will mercy the Sharon Lady Eagles today in 5 innings by a final score of 15-0. Kelly Reichert picks up the victory in the circle. Ended up just facing 1 batter over the minimum through those 5 innings, allowing a single back in the 1st inning. She did allow a walk in the 3rd inning as well that was erased on a double play. So just 1 hit and 1 walk, the only blemishes on the mark for Kelly Reichert today. She was very good in the circle, and of course the offense really speaking for itself. Just an overwhelming performance once again with 15 runs on 13 hits. And this offense just firing on all cylinders in the early days of the season. Milford will stay right here at home still for 3 more games to open up the season. They will next be in action here in Milford on Friday, April 15th. April 15th, taking on Foxborough, so another Davenport Division showdown to look forward to. But that will wrap up our coverage for today. A big thank you to Rob O'Keefe and Daniel Harlow helping out on coverage today. And I am Tim Coette. Your final score, one final time in 5 innings. Milford all over Sharon by a final score of 15-0. This has been a presentation of Milford High School Athletics here on Milford TV. So long, everybody.